Welcome back to another Workshop Wednesday. We're so excited to be back here again with you, streaming live. We would love for you to put in the comments where you're watching from, what company you represent. Are you a stager, redesigner, realtor? We want to know who you are. I've got Jennifer, our amazing staging business advisor, with me again today, and we have a very fun topic to go over that I know will apply to everyone in every type of business, no matter what you do. Sometimes you might be this person or sometimes you might be responding to this person, and that person is angry customers, clients, whatever you want to call them. So we're going to talk through that today. Jen, is that your favorite thing to do, is talk to an angry client?
Sure. My favorite thing to do is to diffuse a bad situation. So if you can end a call with an angry client and you may not have made them happy, but at least you were able to diffuse their anger in some way, then that's a win in my book.
Yes, agreed. Jen is like such a sense of peace and calming just in her personality, and that's why we love having her on our staff at HSRA. Speaking of HSRA, we are the Home Staging and Redesign Alliance. We exist to build businesses and leaders in the home staging, real estate, and redesign industry. And so it is our personal goal. So give me a thumbs up if you're a staging business and you would like to bring your business to a 6 or 7 figure year. So give me a thumbs up if that's you. It is our personal mission to take 1,000 home staging, redesigner, realtor businesses to a 6-figure business. And if that is you, we definitely want to talk to you. We want to help you. We want to give you any resources, coaching, or training that we may have. And so we exist to see you succeed. All right. And one of those ways is HSRA provides training, which we call modules. Like, to be honest, when I first started working here 6 years ago, I never heard, well, I probably heard the word module, but I had no idea what that meant. So if you're in the struggle bus, like I was back then, and still am, a module is basically a video training, a downloadable resource, and that you can watch online, and it teaches you something. So we have over 150 training modules, courses that we have available for our HSRA members in their training center that they can access at any time, that goes over the 8 different departments in a business. And so I've been pulling lately different modules to share and to go over. And today, here's the resource. If you guys want it, I want to see that in the comments. Tell me you want this resource, and we'll get that to you. But we're going to talk about how to respond to angry customers. Everyone has them. Nobody's immune to not having any angry customers. You can't please everybody all the time. And so we're going to get into it today and talk about some ways that you can defuse and help these customers when you get them, and also to have your staff watch this if they're not currently watching it. This will be very helpful for them as well. So number one is, the most important thing to know is, hopefully if you're the business owner watching this, you're not the person doing customer service, right? Our goal at HSRA is to make every business owner work on the business, not in the business. So you shouldn't be picking up the phone and answering phone calls. You should have somebody, a staff member, a rock star, A player, answering the phone. And they should understand what your business core values, vision, and mission are. Because whenever they speak to any client at any time, they have a certain amount of their personality that they project, but they always have to be representing your business, your core values, your mission, and all of that. And so when it comes to angry clients, which we're all going to get, it happens. It's a stressful world. Hello, pandemic for 2 years, right? So they need to know how to respond in the best way that not represents themselves, but represents your company, your core values. I know I'm repeating that a lot, but it's so important. So first, let's just go over the four top reasons customers are angry. So number one is poor results. I mean, that's an obvious, right? I mean, do do stagers make mistakes? Yes, because we're all human, right? It could be, what are some, Jen, you're really good at this stuff. What are some reasons behind why a client, let's just talk about poor results. They're calling in, they're upset about, they feel like they got poor results. What would attribute to somebody feeling like they had poor results?
The first thing that came to my mind was a missed space. So if they anticipated you were going to stage the 2 living rooms and 2 dining rooms, and they show up and there's a dining room missing or there's a living room missing, then not only do they feel that they have an incomplete space, but there was miscommunication. They didn't get what they feel that they paid for. So that would be a huge one, is missed space, or, you know, not receiving what they thought they had communicated they wanted. And then also not receiving the level of art and accessories and soft goods and those types of things that they anticipated seeing. So that's where that communication on the front side from your team is so important, for them to completely make sure that that customer, that client, understands what they're paying for. What level of service are you paying for? Because if they look at your gallery on your website and they're looking at the luxury and they fall in love with the luxury and they expect to walk in and see luxury, but they paid for basic, they're going to be mad.
That's
Why
good.
are they mad?
Let's break that down real quick. For those of you that only provide one service, what Jen is specifically talking about here is the fact that some staging companies like our own offer tiered levels of staging. So Jen, you want to run through those tiers real quick?
Yeah. So if you say you had a basic level, a premier level, and then your luxury level, okay? Your basic level is kind of the key furniture pieces, key art and accessories, the things that you're going to need that are going to basically define the space. Your premier level is going to be something a little bit elevated over that. It's going to really kind of give that warm and fuzzy feel. The luxury level is going to blow them out of the water, right? It's going to make them walk in the house and be like, what? This is amazing, right? And luxury is never going to look the same in every single house, because you're not going to put a bunch of blinged out stuff in a like contemporary, modern farmhouse type look, right? It's got to match the property. It's all about property marketing. So there again, it's communication on the front side with this client saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, I'm looking at the photos you sent over and you wanted luxury Hollywood, like old Hollywood style, which we wouldn't do in staging anyways, right? Because staging is neutral. But just thinking ahead too, you know, it's all about communication, because you do not want that client to walk into that property and be like, this is not what I paid for. You can't always prevent that, but you can. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of something. And you can definitely.
Well, what leads me to the next one, which is so key, is communication. Communicate, over communicate to your clients. Make sure that they firmly understand. I would rather, as an owner or a manager of a business, get a complaint that your staff is bothering me with these communications versus no communication at all. So that's number 2, is poor communication. So showing up to a property and the client doesn't know what time we're going to be there, not communicating, you know, what's on the contract, not communicating, like Jennifer said, what level, like the person on the phone, your salesperson or your office admin, talks through a lot of things with a potential client when they're on the phone, right? So how many different levels of staging do you get? We do some really fun stuff with our members every once in a while. We get to do like a role play, and I get to be like the worst client ever. And I'll get on and I'll be like, but we have to have yellow and red pillows. Like, and can I come to your warehouse and pick out the stuff I want? Like every single ridiculous thing we've ever heard in a staging company over 20 years. We get to kind of role play that, you know, so your client care, your salesperson, they're going to talk through a lot of things, but at the end of the call, have they communicated what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, even down to letting the client know that we're going to be calling you the day before to let you know that, to confirm that we're able to go out, and to remind you not to have anybody on the property, which is another training we did that's really fun. Then we're going to call you the morning of to let you know that we're on the way. Then we're going to call you. I don't know if they call when they get there, or they're going to call when they leave and it's complete. But how many times are we going to communicate with this customer so that they are fully aware of what is happening at all times? It's so important. The more communication you give up front, the less questions that are asked later, and the less unmet expectations, which is number 3. Customers are upset because of unmet expectations. So how clear can your customer care, your salesperson be when it comes to what they can expect on their stage? And so, and what everything from getting their information, getting the information of the house, getting the lockbox code, all of that information needs to be pushed out at the front and then reiterated in the middle and then reminded at the end. Jen, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes. Everything needs to be in writing. Everything
It's not written. It's not real.
I'm telling you, everything needs to be documented. And this is where your CRM, your client relations management system, whatever system you use, is going to be key, because you want to make sure that you're tracking those communications. If you have a phone call, you don't have something in writing from the client, but you should have someone in your office that's documenting that phone call that says, this is what we talked about, this is what was agreed upon. And anytime that you can, follow up with an email and say, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Client, for chatting with me today. Just to recap our conversation, here's what we discussed. Do you mind confirming with an email back to make sure we're all on the same page? It's some extra steps, but it will save you in the end. And if you came up to a situation where you had an angry client, you can always refer back to that train of written communications and at least know from your side, because you may never please everybody, but at least you would know from your side as the business owner that your staff did everything that they could do to take care of that client. And it's all right there in writing for you to see all the different steps that they made.
Yeah, that's so good. And then the last, and a lot of times, most likely the main reason why you get an upset client is because they have financial issues. They have budget issues, right? So 9 times out of 10 in a staging company, you're going to be speaking with the realtor. Very seldom, unless it's an occupied stage, are you speaking with the seller of the property. But most of the times you're dealing with the realtor, right? And they only have a certain amount of budget that they can offer for the stage. And obviously, I'm assuming from when I did real estate, the conversation looked like, maybe they're going to pay for half the stage because they really want to get it, right? So that's money that they have to, probably pay upfront as a realtor who's not guaranteed that this is going to close. And so they're just under a lot of pressure financially. And so I know at Model My Home, there's a lot of times that they have the conversation that they want not necessarily a luxury, but maybe the premier, but they're on the budget of the basic, right? So it's champagne taste on a beer budget, essentially, right? So what we can do is we can talk through it. So maybe we can do the basic package and do an upgrade for $100 of these accessories in this room. Maybe you don't need to stage the whole secondary bathroom. You can just add some art and maybe, a couple little light accessories. Or even in an office, maybe not the whole desk, but there's some shelving. You could put some stuff on, some accessories on. And so talking through them with that, and always over deliver for them. Mm-hmm. Every single time. You would rather them be delighted when they go in because maybe you added a little extra fluff. And I know that's hard right now because so many of our staging members are so busy and they don't have inventory because now, thank the good Lord, renewals are coming through. So they're not getting their inventory back. But if you can add a little more for that client, they will definitely use you next time. So Budget issues is always one thing, just like in life and marriage and relationships. Money is one of the things that always stresses people out. So what is it? Under deliver or under promise and over deliver every time with your clients. And so, Jen, do you have anything you want to add in regards to pricing issues? I know that you work with Model My Home a lot with that. So is there anything you wanted to share on that end?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to pricing, letting people know that a price cut is going to be more expensive than a stage. That's just a given. And a lot of people think now in this current market that they don't have to worry about that, but we know that the market is shifting. We know that things are moving and happening. And even when houses were selling really fast, staging was always an integral part of the marketing process for a property. So really just kind of communicating and kind of getting to the bottom of it. Is it something where they literally just don't have the funds up front? Then maybe your staging company has the ability to do a pay at close option. Is it that they only have half the money up front? I know Model My Home has done this several times where we allow the client to pay half up front to secure the stage, and then the other half has to be paid before the stage is delivered. So it's never no within a staging company. When a client presents a challenge, it's yes, let's figure out how to make this best work for you. So you don't want to sell yourself short as a stager. You want to make sure that you're profiting, that you're getting value, your services are being valued. But at the same time, it's also helping that client realize, get past that sticker shock, right? Because I mean, that's a real thing. Staging is not cheap. And so if it's well done, it's not cheap. And so there could be some sticker shock there. So you've got to talk through the value that them paying this money is going to add to the marketing of their property, and let them know it's better to go ahead and do it up front. List it once, list it right, get the marketing done right, get the photos in there right, and get the right buyer in there fast and get moving on this property.
Yeah, so good. So good. So we have the 4 top reasons: poor results, poor communication, unmet expectations, and budget issues. All of those could be solved by good communication. So now let's move in and kind of shift into responding to an angry customer. And I cannot express the importance of this enough. Anytime there is a upset client or an upset person who is emotional, right? Upset is an emotion. Happiness is an emotion. So when they come at you with that negative emotion, in order to get the main thing into motion is knowing that you do not respond to them with emotion, right? So do not respond to emotion with emotion. Your customer care client, your salesperson has to know, it has to be pounded into their brain that nothing they say on the phone is it's not personal to that person. Because if they can do that, if they could put that, I don't know, I just think of like some type of armor up, because I've worked jobs that are customer service jobs for many, many years. And it doesn't matter how professional you are, doesn't matter how strong you are, eventually that complaining chips away, right? So there's grace, but know that number 1, take the emotion out. So the first thing, we're going to go through 9 points very quickly. And if you want this resource, just comment in the comment section. We'll send it to you. Is assume the customer has a right to be angry. Okay. That does not mean that you're saying your company didn't do a good job. It's recognizing that they feel a certain way and there's a reason behind that feeling. It's empathizing with them, right? So you let them talk, you let them explain. You don't get angry right off the bat. You are giving them the benefit of the doubt, I guess you could say. So assuming that the customer has the right to be angry and knowing that it's not a personal thing for you, it may be personal for them. A home sale is a very emotional transaction that happens. It is very much them, right? So just giving them the right to vent, right? Number two is listen to the emotion without emotion, is basically what I just said. So take notes. Literally, you answer the phone, you're on the phone with them, they're venting, take notes, because what you will find is many times when someone's complaining about something, it's really not that something that's the kicker. It's something else within all of that. This is Jen's top thing that she's good at. Number three, be patient. Be patient. Jen, I don't know if you want to give us some nuggets on how you are so patient all of the time, but you are just calm and cool and collective. And, you know, maybe you can share some of that with our viewers, but being patient is a big one when it comes to angry customers.
It really is. And I don't know. I mean, it's just I think it really has a lot to do with what you're saying. It's not taking it personal, and it's not allowing yourself to elevate to their level. Just always remember your goal is to let the air out of that hot balloon, right? You want to diffuse that situation. You want to be as calm as possible. You want to make sure that you keep your smile on, even if they are screaming at you, because it's true. When you lose your smile, you lose your cool. And so you just have to realize that this is a moment it's a moment in your life. It's a moment in their life. You're going to work through it, diffuse that balloon, and just keep moving.
Yes. And we always talk about a lot within the HSRA community, for especially in our customer service, anyone who's picking up a phone to answer it or make a phone call, to have a mirror on their desk so that they smile while they're talking to the person. It might also be helpful to create some frames that go on the desk that say something like, you don't know if this person just lost a family member. Are they selling because of a divorce? Like, remember, we're here to help. We're not here to combat or argue with our clients. We're here to offer a service to make something a better experience for them. And sometimes those little reminders, like I have on my desk right here, they help, right? So, you know, having that available. And then the next thing, which I struggle with very much sometimes, is speak softly, right? I'm just an energy person in the same way, like Jennifer said, you know, letting the hot air out of the balloon and being patient. So I catch other people's energy. It's a part of my personality. So if I'm in front of somebody and they're getting excited, whoa, I'm way up here. I'm getting more excited. I'm like, let's go. This is awesome. But also if they're down here and they're like, then I'm like, okay, like, what are we doing? So I really have to watch myself. Not so much I'm not too much of an angry person, but if somebody's angry, I'm so ambitious to like want to fix it and like want to hurry up and tell them. And I've had to learn in my own experience through 30 years of my career to just be calm and speak softly to them, because even if you're not yelling at them, your loud voice in their mind, they're already escalated. So speak softly, let your staff speak softly to them. And then the next one is repeat, repeat, repeat. So if you rewind, I said take notes, take lots of notes. So when you repeat, it's, Mr., I'm so sorry that you feel this way. Let me make sure I fully understand. This is what you said. This is what I heard you say. Then you say it because you took the notes. And then what happens within that process is you could very easily have the conversation, the client's mad because there's red pillows. I don't know. And what the real problem is, not that there's red pillows, but that one, they probably are selling the house because let's say there's a divorce happening. They're losing control of their marriage. They're losing control of what goes in their home that they raise their babies in, that have marks in the door jambs of how tall they are. They're really upset because, you know, they don't even like red, but let's just say hypothetically, which is not true, but red is a hot color in staging, and houses are, you know, selling really quickly with red pillows. I don't know, whatever that is. The problem is not the red pillow. The problem is not the tan pillow. The problem is everything else. So I hear what you're saying is that this is such a stressful time. I understand. We want to make this process as easy as possible for you, right? Just calm, cool, collective. Repeat what they're telling you, because then that tells them that they've been heard. And every angry person just wants to be heard. That's why every angry person, when they don't get what they want on the first call, will say, let me speak to your supervisor because you didn't hear me. I want to speak to the next person. And FYI, that is usually not a real supervisor. It's just a different person to listen to them. So repeat, repeat, repeat. Then number 6 is own the problem. Now, owning the problem does not mean that you failed or the company failed. It just means you're owning it. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller or agent, I fully hear what you're saying. This is what I heard you say. This is how we're going to fix it. We're going to take care of it and move on from there. Jen, do you want to add anything for owning the problem?
Yeah, owning the problem 100%. And especially if it is something where you have missed a mark somewhere, owning that problem and not making excuses for it in that moment is huge. Just saying, you know what, I am so sorry that happened and we're going to get this fixed for you. If it is a situation, especially in the realm of staging and design, where they're just not happy with a design element, something that works really well for us at Model My Home is to say, you know what, I hear what you're saying. This is, design is such a personal thing, right? It's like, it's hard to match every person's wants and needs. Staging is all about transitional design. It's all about appealing to the masses. So, hey, let's do this. Let's give it 2 weeks and let's see if you get any specific negative feedback about those red pillows. Yeah. And if you get some specific negative feedback about those red pillows, we will be happy to come out and change them for you. But really, really, really believe that the way that the staging set up, this house is going to sell so fast, you're never even going to hear about those red pillows. So just giving them kind of an option to suggestion to let it ride for a little period of time. And then, doing that will help as well.
Yeah, so good. And then I also want to remind number 7 is customer first, problem second. So realizing that the red pillows are not the issue. We don't ever, 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 ever want our clients to feel like they're just a dollar sign. They are human. We care about them. We are in the service industry. All of your employees work there to give a service to the client, good customer service, caring customer service, because every single time you give good customer service, you take care of a client, you are always going to get that client back. Even if you messed up, but they feel like you really genuinely cared about them, you own the mistake, they're going to keep coming back. Then you want to triage, like Jennifer said, please never, ever push off something your company did or you did, going back to owning it, on somebody else, even in the company. So the person that answers the phone is going to own something that the logistics person did. Why? Not in the sense of owning it to their supervisor and, having to do an incident report and everything, but to the client. They're not going to say, well, sorry, I wasn't on the truck. I didn't break that. Or I wasn't in the house that day. I didn't scuff the wall. It was the stager. You want to always own up and triage the situation. You should be training the people on the phone to know already what is the process. We always say this: if it's not real. Do you have your processes and procedures in place? But if somebody calls and says, I just came to look at the stage, there's a huge scrape on my wall, my wood scraped, whatever that is, and it was not like that before. Your team has to know, what is the process? Is the process, please send a picture? Do we already have pictures of the property to prove it wasn't us? Maybe it was a maintenance guy that came in, but they need to be trained in advance to immediately triage. So you think of triage like in the hospital. When somebody comes into the hospital in the emergency room, nobody's like, oh, I didn't do it, so why am I here to help? No, the nurses are there to help the patient. So make sure that the whole staff knows to own it, to how they're supposed to triage it, what is the process and procedure when there is a complaint, when there's damage to a property, when somebody accidentally runs over the corner of the driveway. There's brand new grass. It's super wet. The truck tires like in there. What do? Like there's a big now hole in the front yard when they just laid new sod, right? Like you need to know those things. And then lastly, it's follow up. No matter what, just because you've solved the problem of an angry customer, the worst thing you can ever do is not follow up with that customer. It's like, I know our human nature is like, okay, they were mad. I don't want to deal with them no more. I am not calling Miss Smith. No way. Wrong answer. You want to kill Miss Smith with kindness. You want to follow up, make sure she's good, make sure she's happy. Find out some things, especially when you have an angry client. Find out some personal things, like maybe they love Starbucks, or they love to go out to eat here, or they love this place. You can buy a gift card after it closed, send to them and say, hey, congratulations on selling your house. Here's something extra. It's especially important when it's an upset client. You should do this for all your clients, but when it's an upset client, you're able to win them back. It's like so much better. And so those were our 9 different ways to respond. Jen, can you think of anything else we might have left out today?
No, I think that list is pretty well covers it all for sure.
Yes.
And I definitely love the thing about, not hesitating to connect with them after. That is, you don't want to have to make that call, but it's important that you make that call so that, and a lot of times they will probably apologize to you. I'm so sorry. I was in such a bad mood or whatever, because like you said, you don't know what's happening in someone else's life. So don't judge a person by one interaction with them.
Exactly. And it is such a more sweet reward when you can win over an angry client, almost like you want to make a challenge out of it for your staff. Like, not that you should have that many angry clients. And if you do, then you definitely need to come to HSRA and let us help train some of your team and your staff. But it is so rewarding. Like, really, at the end of the day, nothing feels better than making relationships with our clients, right? And so, with everything I do, like almost every single person I do business with on a regular basis has now merged into my friend. Like my hairstylist, my nails, all of the things, the maintenance I get done, they're all my friends now because I've been going to them for so long. Have there been times when maybe there was disappointment or whatever? Yes, but we just talk it out. And so just know that in your staging company, your staff needs to know a few key things. 1, your core values, your foundation of your business. They need to know what that is because when they pick up the phone, they're representing that. Right? If they don't know what the foundation is, then you have nothing to give them like a course correction on because they don't know, right? So make sure that they understand that they own the issues, that one is all when it comes to problems. Unfortunately, it's the person that answers the phone that might have to answer for the logistics guy or the stager who made a mistake or had an accident. But we own our problems and we exist to make any problems better, challenges better, that we can build relationships with our realtors, with sellers, just with people in general. Such a better feeling. So if you need additional help, please go to myhsra.com. You can schedule a discovery call with this girl right here. She is our staging business advisor. You guys, she meets once a month with all of our members, talks through business, coaches them through things, gives them advice, resources, schedules call, maybe an escalated call with Jana, our founder. She is here to help and coach and lead because she has a foot in the staging business all the time. And then she gets to talk to all you amazing people all the time. So book your discovery call with her. She would love to talk to you, or I would love to talk to you. And just know that you're not alone and there are resources out there just like this one. It's a very important one. So we want to know if you want this, we want to give you that resource. Just put a comment below and we will get that over to you. And we're going to be back here same time, same place next week. So we can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for joining us and we will see you next week.